Peter Eliades with you. We're going to do something different here. We're doing an intraday update. Some charts to show you that are very interesting. We hinted last night that we may be doing something like this because of the discrepancies or the apparent contradictions in some of the projections. As it turned out, both of those projections may well turn out to be right. Let's take a look at some of these charts short term. This is the shortest of the 27-minute offsets. It's getting really close to giving a downside projection here. That has not occurred as yet, but it may come up in the next half an hour or so. But that's not the most important thing we want to show you. The next longer one, look at this upside projection, was hit perfectly. It called for an upside projection of 3,008.37, 3,009.86. Look what the high was. The high was 3,009 and a quarter, virtually exactly in between this small projection range here. The next longer one. This one called for slightly higher, 1125, let's say, and 1375. Actually, this projection was met virtually perfectly overnight. The overnight high was right in the middle of this projection zone. We almost got up there again in the first period or two this morning. Didn't quite get up there, but it was met. I emphasize it was met in the overnight session. Usually we don't apply the daytime only charts to the overnight sessions, but when you see something like this and you know that that projection was hit overnight, makes it all the more important. The next longer projection, this one was very interesting. Look what happened in here. Had we gone sideways for another period or two, we could well have generated a much higher upside projection. Prices knew that, and they know where the projection lines are, the offset lines, and they started down very quickly over the next 2 or 3 periods, and there's a good chance that indeed no significantly higher projection will be given here. If anything, if they go sideways, then a projection back into this area will be given. But right now, the movement is to the downside, so there's no important information on that chart. The next chart. Look at this. We have this downside projection between 2973.75, let's say, and 2978. This was the one where we had the very sharp first line down and then back up again. We talked about this yesterday, the possibility of maybe coming in this zone, then reestablishing the downside. But so far, this downside projection remains in effect. Let's look at the next longer offset. This one is very interesting. This is the projection down to 2953.75 to as high as 2972.75. So at least down to 2972.75 is what this projection is saying. Now what we want to point out here is, let's zoom in on this area right here so you can see what happened. It's really interesting. See how we got the sideways movement here yesterday. The rally that we saw in the first period this morning was delayed long enough so that there was no invalidation of that downside projection. This first bar today, the midpoint, was below both this blue offset line and well below the red one. So this downside projection remains in effect, 2953.75, 2972.75. We have one more chart we want to show you. And that is this particular chart in relation to the Russell 2000 future at RTY.D. This one's interesting too. Notice it looks a little bit different from the at ES future, the S&P future. We got the break here through the initial projection line, sideways movement, no rally like we saw yesterday, a little uptrend in the RTY as opposed to the S&P, and now we've established a downside projection. The same type thing happened here with a blue offset line. Notice how prices climbed a little bit up with them yesterday, but remained below. Projection was confirmed here when the median was well below the the second offset line, and now we have a downside projection here to 1536.97 all the way down to 1516.82. Let's make that 80, round these off. That's where we stand. So almost what we expected to see, that rally that we expected that was given and projected, and ultimately not disturbing or bothering the downside projections, which remain in effect. So I hope this has been helpful to you. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you probably after the market close today.